Take a look in my game face. Ain't no stopping me. You know I'm coming in first place. Well, stop it till I get that ring. I'ma dominate all day. No matter who you bring, I will not lose.
Yeah.
I will not lose. I will not lose.
Yo, what up? It's your boy Owen J.J Stone, a.k.a. Black Gritty. Welcome to another episode of Gritty Nights. It is Tuesday. It is a good day in Philadelphia. It's a good weekend in Philadelphia. It's a good week in Philadelphia. I'm just happy to be here with you. Most of you guys are going to be listening on audio, but if you're here on the YouTube, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I appreciate you. It's free. You can do that for me. Jason, are you happy?
Of course I'm happy. What a great week for Philly sports, right?
Okay, I believe that. All right, Harry, Mr. Positive Vibes.
Oh man, I feel like pressure to keep those vibes on this show tonight. Definitely. I'm happy, but I have some angst building up as well.
What are you see? This is why I can't take Harry.
God damn.
Bro, your job here is to be the youth vibe check. I mean, we won a game. We got the all right, Harry.
I got you once the points start rolling. I got you.
Okay, all right. Jason, is that not why we have Harry here?
Yeah, he's got to keep us balanced.
I mean, for Pete's sake. All right, so we got a guest tonight, somebody who I'm gonna blame for having me be positive because I'm usually half Negadelphia, half realist, half happy. But I saw a video the other day. Matter of fact, I'll play this video before I even bring the guest on, just because I want people to understand how I was feeling the other day. I felt bad being how I get sometimes about watching what's happening in the world. And I'm like, I don't like when people make good points, especially about Philadelphia. Here, let me play this real quick for you guys so we can get on the same page.
The inability for the city of Philadelphia to endure adversity is so tiring. You have to pull people off the ledge after every loss. Was the end of that game bad? Yes. Was that a bad call? Maybe. Maybe execute. The sound bites on the radio and the social media posts are ridiculous. Saquon makes that catch and the Birds are 2-0. The second there's a bad game, they're ready to throw the whole season away. The whole season. The season that you waited months for. You're ready to just throw it away. This team is mid. They don't have it. No Super Bowl. Bro, it's week 2. Calm down. Calm down. Jalen Hurts still has the 7th highest QBR in football. More passing yards than Mahomes, Burrow, Kyler Murray, Josh Allen. In 2 games, and one of those was without A.J. Brown. Defense looked bad on that last drive. Yes, defense looked bad. Packers game. Blankenship had a pick. Slay had a forced fumble. Zach Bond had 2 sacks. It's week 2. Give it some time. Let A.J. Brown come back. Let's fix the stuff on defense. Maybe Bryce Huff shows up. Maybe Josh Sweat does something. Maybe Zach Bond takes over. There is no patience with this city. 0 patience. You know what makes winning so good? Losing. Enduring pain and heartache for years and then winning. And I have the patience. Do you? The inability for the city of Philadelphia.
I don't.
I feel so called out.
Hey, look, like I said, when I saw it, I was like, okay, my bad.
Yeah.
So welcome to the show, Chef. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
I usually never put people on blast like that, but I had to go and play the message first just so I can tell you you're a horrible person. I don't like you. And I brought you here to roast you, to let you understand to your face that I don't like being told that this is how I'm supposed to feel. Now, you are the exact opposite of half of the videos I post, and you're so eloquent and calm and rational. And I thought to myself, if we lose to the Saints, I got to get this guy on the show so I don't shoot myself. But we won.
Turned out right? Maybe not every point, but
your posts, like you have a lot of good posts and stuff like that. But like that in that moment, I was still angry. I usually come around like 3 or 4 days after the game. I come down off of it and I'm like, all right, let me look at the game again. Let me, check it. But we care here, bro. Like, and it's funny because like I feel like when you make a message like that, that's like the other scope of caring, right? When you care so much, you're like, bro, it's week 2. We're gonna be all right. it's okay. Then at the same time, it's like, it's week 2 and you giving away free games already. Like, what are we doing? So
Sure.
I just want to put out there. I appreciate your message. I appreciate the message. And Harry's usually our vibe guy. That's why we get on Harry all the time, because he's always fighting me in the comments and the DMs, like just, trying to keep hope alive. He held on Ben Simmons longer than most people I know. So we some
I tried. Why you bringing up old stuff?
Who's Ben Simmons? Never heard.
Well, moving on from that, the Phillies clinched the NL East, and they did it at home. And I'll tell you something, like, everybody says the story about how long it's been 13 years, and it instantly makes you say, well, I was in the 6th grade. I was just getting out of college or wherever it was the last time it happened. And it's like, man, that is such a long time. 13 years is a long time to go without. And the biggest thing for me was, so Chef, let me just give you inside baseball. Before the season started, I bet a good little chunk of money on 98 wins. And I was believing in the team. I was riding with the team. When the team was in their lull, I wasn't even posting videos about the team. I'm like, I know they're bad right now. I don't want to be angry, upset. It's baseball. It's a long season. We're going to be okay. And they have come out of it. But I am not going to win my mint. I can't retire. So I still got to do this podcast, hang out with you guys. But they did what they said they were going to do. And that's what made me even place the bet in the first place. They were talking about winning the division, taking the lead, and keeping their spot. And they went out and they did that. So I'll start with you. How happy, excited, joyous do you remember the last time they won the NL? How do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, it is a great feeling, right? To win the division. Awesome accomplishment. Step one, first step of your long-term goal, right? Now let's look to the other side. 2 teams last season, both wildcard teams, went to the World Series. Playoffs, winning the division means nothing. You get what? A cool little banner. We won the division. That's great. But when you look at even historically the last 2 seasons, the team with the 1 seed got bounced. Braves, Dodgers 2 years ago, the Padres, the Orioles last season. So having that, that time off isn't really necessarily like works out for your benefit. So I'm cool with a wild card, dude. I don't care. I'm saying this on the other side. Division's cool. That's great. It means nothing though. Like we said, you can sneak into postseason with baseball. 12 teams in, almost half the league. So we saw last year the 2 wild card teams going to the World Series. So division is cool, but it's all about once you get there. So now we can start getting excited.
Is that your angst, Harry? Is that what you're feeling when you're talking about having angst? Like that 1 seed not being the thing? I will say this real quick for you. Go, Harry.
Yep.
Us getting in, we are the team that beat 2 first place teams 2 years in a row too, as the wild card. So I do understand that, and either way it's going to work out for us being 1 or 2. But I feel like we're one of the teams that knocked out the number 1, so we have the heart to fix that for ourselves. That's my mentality. That's what I'm telling myself. So Harry, was that why you had that feeling?
Yeah, definitely part of it. Like I said, we're used to being underdogs in this town, used to kind of grinding through the mud, and I feel like wild card path is that path, and we've been doing that recently. And it's one of those things, like you said, we were that team, so now I feel a little bit better about being the 1 seed. I will say I definitely agree with Chef there about like the wild card versus the division. Like, do we really want to celebrate the division? Because I remember growing up and the Braves won the division every year, and it didn't mean shit. So it's but the one devil's advocate to that I will say is that you look at like European soccer, for example, they have so many things to celebrate throughout the year. I think we get annoyed with how much the regular season in American sports doesn't seem to matter, besides like in football, basically. So I will say to have something to celebrate after a long year, baseball, 162 games. I mean, something to celebrate at the end of that, I think is worthwhile. But ultimately, I agree. If we end up, getting bounced in the first round, we will not give a shit that we won the division.
Jason, did you cry last night?
No, I didn't. In fact, I've been so used to the Phillies doing good in the playoffs that I hadn't even really remembered that they hadn't won the division in so long. When everyone was posting like, it's been so long, I'm like, we've been in the playoffs dominating for the past 2-3 years. Like I don't even care about the division. What's that matter, right? We got it, like we said, Chef said we got a flag. Cool. That doesn't mean that's Detroit Lions stuff, celebrating the division, right? We don't do that here. We want championships, right? The good thing I'll say about that bye week is the Phillies are old and they have played a lot of games in the past couple of years. So that week off might help them in this case.
Okay. So none of us care about the division. And I guess I only care because I put money on 98 wins. Maybe that's why.
Where'd you get 98 wins? It should have been like 93 at the beginning of the season. I had over 93 and a half, and that's going to cash.
Oh, easy. Yeah, definitely.
So, first of all, don't block my blessings. I had a feeling.
Win total.
I was, and again, I'm Mr. Negadelphia. I'm a realist, bro. Like when I feel something, I'm like one of those lucky people. My feeling was like, yo, the way they're talking, and after the last 2 years, I'm like, this is a goal of theirs. And if I'm going to believe in y'all. And Chef, for like the first half of the season, I was cashing. I was cashing. I was feeling real good. So I had 98 wins in my mind. Harry's talking numbers now. They're going to come up to a 96. I'm going to fall just short. But at least I got to ride that ride and have the joy and excitement of it going on. Because I believed. The way they were talking, I was like, yo, they about to go do it. And the way they started, the way they were going through the middle of the season, I messed up.
If it makes you feel any better, there's no team this season that's going to finish with 100 wins. So you can't feel too bad. Nobody's doing it this season.
Yeah, I also think that I got plus 200 or 300 more for the 98 versus the 93. So I was being greedy. Stop. I called you here to call you out. Don't be calling me out. Call out. But one time I was positive and believed. I believed early too.
I learned your lesson.
I did. I sure did. Because like I said, Harry bringing up numbers. Because I talk about it on the show like every week since the beginning of the season. So people have just been. I got my cousin texting me. He don't even watch baseball. He's like, dog, I don't know if they're gonna make it. I was like, why are you worried about my money? Like, stop texting me. I'm already trying to block it out. And then Harry brought it up. Trying to live my life in peace. So
yeah, that's watching. 10-2 score in the 8th inning was definitely shutting that down tonight. So
so Chef, do you care about number 1 seed versus 2 seed?
I think that the path is good for the 2 seed. It really doesn't matter, honestly. I mean, if we're going to face the Dodgers at some point, you're going to meet the big dogs either way, right? What are we going to do? You're going to try and lose a game, try and get the 2 seed. Whatever happens, just let it happen, dude. There's everybody at that point is good. The Diamondbacks are dangerous. The Mets are sneaky, dude. I don't want to really kind of see them. They got some weird juju and grimace stuff going on where it's like they're like the little brother that's kind of hanging on, and now they're getting excited because they're going to make a push. So, it is what it is. But I care less what it is, the first or the second.
Jason,
I would prefer the 1 seed only because we know playing at Citizens Bank is the toughest place to play at. I know last year that didn't come true like we all assumed it would, but for the most part, statistically, all that, the Phillies just play better at home, and it's tough to come here and win in October.
Harry?
Yeah, I agree. And like Chef said, this ain't basketball. I mean, you can't just strategically lose a game. It might happen. It might not. We're playing the Nationals last series of the year, so just let it be. I'm cool with whatever.
I want the number 1 seed just because I want the home field advantage. And again, I don't want the karma of trying to lose a game or going to second because you think the match is going to be different, because you never know what's going to happen. And the same way we all discussed, the wild card team can change everything dramatically to where you think of who's going to do. Now, they don't reseed in baseball. Am I correct?
No.
Okay, so you don't have to worry about that. So just go out there, play your games, win what you win, do what you do. And I prefer to be home just because our pitching, the rotation would be so much better for us if we had home field advantage. So I'll take first. I'll be happy with second. Either way, it's not that huge of a deal. Yeah. So, Chef, how's the team looking to you? How's the vibe of the team right now? How's everything? How you feel about the team?
Bro, it's good. I love it. It's really I said it like this. Tell me if I'm right or wrong. Okay. I think a lot of people started watching the Phillies more so over the last 2 or 3 seasons. It's 162 games. Maybe over the last 2 or 3 years, people are watching the Phillies on a Tuesday night in July now because, hey, we got a good team. So they don't know it is 162 games. So when they went through that little drought after the All-Star game, everyone's getting down that whole Negadelphia thing. Oh, this team ain't it, blah, blah, blah. But that's the course of the season. That's what needs to happen. Every team goes through it. So I was all the way with the ups and downs. They have the pieces. They have the experience now going into the postseason. They've kept a very strong core. The horses that they got through, the 1-2 punch with Nola and Wheeler. Tell me someone else that's got a better 1-2. And then you got Sanchez and Ranger, and they are good on the road as well. So having a 3-4 that could give a 7 innings with 1 or 2 runs, and you get some run support on that. I mean, I love it, dude. My biggest thing is the thing that is going to be the catalyst, I think, is your all-stars, your 1 through 5 hitters, the guys that you're paying $20 to $30 million a year for, as long as they don't go silent. We saw it last year, and I know last year means nothing, but I would need to see those guys bashing when it comes to the postseason. So that's how I see it. I mean, I love them as a favorite. Vegas loves them. They're, the 3rd favorite behind the Dodgers and the Yankees. So I'm good, dude. I love this team. The vibes are real.
The Yankees boggles my mind. I don't think the Yankees might win a series unless they can just hit their way through it. They have no pitching right now. So I don't, they're the Yankees. I'm not going to go crazy about that, but I was looking at that too, and I was like, what do people think the Yankees are going to do? But anyway, they're the Yankees, so that's what that is. Harry, are the vibes still high, Harry?
I think the vibes are.
Y'all wanted to make certain moves at the deadline.
Yeah.
They did. They went to that lull, so we all had that. What are we doing here? Kind of Dombrowski, you messed up, you fumbled, but they've righted the ship on that. So are you back to? We're on the roll. We're going are we?
Yeah, I am. I mean, like Chef said, it's a long season, and the ups and downs happen every single year. It's just part of the sport. And I think back on teams that have had like flawless regular seasons, for lack of a better word, the Dodgers recently, the Mariners team back in the day that everyone always talks about, best regular season ever. The Phillies 13 years ago, when we had 100 wins or whatever with that crazy pitching staff and that roster. So, to me, flawless seasons are just a thing to wish for that, there's no point. There's no point. It's going to be a mess at times, and it was a mess for us less than it was the last couple seasons, right, during the regular season. So I think we rallied when we needed to. We never really let the lull get too deep after the All-Star break, and we're going to finish with arguably the best record in Major League Baseball this year. So got to feel good about that. I think I saw some video of the song. I don't know if it's really going to be a new song of the year, but it seems like they're switching the song, So I think that, again, we're ready to move on from the last couple seasons and realize that this is the year we have to win. So like Chef said, gotta mash in the playoffs. The way we started last season, I don't know if I want us to be that hot to start the postseason because it might turn the other way, but we got to hit, and that's what it comes down to.
So that's my question for you, Jason. Is postseason Bryce ready? Is postseason Casty ready? Like, are we? How do you feel about that?
Well, what is postseason Casty, right? That's like 3 days of flames and then 10 days of ice cold, nothing.
We just got to keep Liam out of school.
Yeah,
Out of school, and we'll be all right.
That's why I definitely think Bryce needs that little bye week, whatever you're going to call it, days off with his elbow. It's bothering him. He hit a home run tonight, though. His swing is back. He's driving the ball a little bit more. And I think with that little bit of rest, that'll help him. Vibes will be very good going into the playoffs. We won't have to see Walker take the mound anymore because he'll be off the playoff roster because there's no chance that they allow that guy to take the mound in a playoff game, right? And I saw a question in the chat. Ranger's a slight worry right now. But he's down to the number 4 starter, so we don't need him. Last year, he was our 2. We needed him to be.
Yeah, and in the postseason, he did elevate.
Right, so hopefully he can elevate. Right now, he seems to be struggling a little bit, but
his velo is down.
Yeah, velo is down. Everywhere else you look, the bullpen has 3 reliable guys. They have 3 reliable starters. The lineup's got proven guys, and then it comes down to the coach, who I hope comes through.
So that's my thing. First of all, because Chef said it earlier too, baseball is such a weird thing. Like if you casually watch it and then you get mad because you hear everybody yelling about Walker and you're like, why is Taiwan in here? And I'm like, well, see, the way pitching works is like guys' arms and you can't wear them out and you're already getting blown out. So there's reasons why he's out there besides you just yelling. And I'm all, me, I'm all for booing. You paid your money. If you think something's wrong, this is Philadelphia. We boo here because we cheer the loudest. So if somebody deserves a boo, you get a boo. But sometimes maybe if you knew a little bit more about the game, you'd understand why he's out there. He's out there because you can burn him up a little bit because you know the position you are in the game, and you have to accept that sometimes in baseball. My biggest non-vibe, because you guys gave all the good vibes, so I'm not even going to try and find another vibe. You gave all the good vibes. My biggest non-vibe is if Topper can learn from his mistakes. And old dog, new tricks. He didn't learn the first go-round. He didn't learn the second go-round. And I hope that he learned this year. This year, he did have a lot more lineup changes. He was a lot more flexible with that. He still was hard to get into it, but he did do it. And I just want to see strategy in the postseason. When you're in extra innings and you don't like play small ball to move somebody along to get them to third and help them out, and then you watch the other team do it, and then you get into another inning and they do it again to you, and you don't even try to do it. I'm like, well, you see what they're doing? Like that's strategy. That's baseball. Like you can't just stand up there and swing all the time and not talk to your guys. So Topper is my biggest thing for negative outcomes. Like I want him to be a little bit different. I want him to believe in the guys. I want him to be himself, but I also want him to learn from his mistakes. Chef, what any negatives you got going on in your mindset that we need to worry about or keep an eye on?
Well, I think you're spot on, man. I'll be honest with you. Topper is great, but I think he's the benefactor of a great lineup and a great bullpen and a great starting staff. I could manage pretty close to what he does with this Phillies team. You have a great team, dude. It's very hard for you to kind of mess it up. So I'm 100% with you. He's been in the league. He was going to retire before they fired Girardi and brought him out. He was in the league 20 years. He's with the Yankees. Never offered a managerial position ever.
And I don't know that says something about a guy. I don't care. He's a great human being. Seems like a great guy, but to never have it offered to you once seems okay. Why? Never. Okay.
Right. And you've been in the game forever. So that was one thing I looked at. And then he kind of benefited from, this great lineup and stuff. But exactly, dude, like I don't want to see he's, very by the book and matchups. And I'm not necessarily all for that, dude. There's a point last season where Marsh had better splits against lefties than he did righties. And I'm just like, let him hit. So he likes to play that matchup game. I'm not a big fan of it. He likes to burn through pitchers a lot when you got, a Strom coming in with 6 pitches he throws. And now we're going to bring Hoffman in. And I'm just like, let him deal, dude. Just let him keep going. So I'm with you on that.
Guys, right. He's a trust your guy until it comes to pitching. And like this year, you saw Wheeler and Nola twice. I remember Wheeler like 3 times. Like, yo, you're not pulling me out of this game. Like you can see them being angry about it. Like, yo, I'm staying in. So they're like telling him like, don't do it. Just relax. So hopefully this postseason that fixes itself. That seems to be everybody's only worry right now. Because like I said, vibes are high. That break is going to help Bryce and anybody else who's a little dinged up. Everybody's dinged up this time of the year. So for us, the benefit of staying hot, quote unquote, and rolling in is always great. But when you're dinged up, that break can help you. So I'm hoping that the break helps because, like you said, Bryce did hit a bomb tonight. He has been hitting a little bit better, so he must be feeling somewhat better. Who's your favorite player all time, Chef? Baseball.
All time.
I
mean, it might not be popular, but Derek Jeter. I loved watching him grow up. He kind of really epitomizes just like, one guy, one organization, never had a scandal off the field until social media came around and we know he's handing out goodie bags to the ladies. But still, he was respectful. Guys got to eat, so whatever. But Derek Jeter growing up, it was just great to see him at shortstop doing his thing. And they were always, playoff contention, World Series, stuff like that. So that I really enjoyed watching Derek Jeter grow up and kind of tried to model my game after him. Jason, we didn't have this on record. Is it Ken?
It's Ken Griffey Jr. I'm a lefty. You're the best lefty swing in baseball.
Yeah, I figured that was for you. And Harry, for you, you're cheating too hard over there.
God, I was almost about to boo Chef. He started talking about Derek Jeter. I was like, oh my goodness gracious. Like I can't even. We had J-Roll in town, buddy. I don't know. Anyway, no. For me, it's hard to pick one player because baseball, I played every position growing up. I'm just saying, for me, honestly, the one that I was most excited about for my youth is probably Ryan Howard, man. Ryan Howard hitting those home runs and just coming on the scene the way he did. He was the spark that, I think led us to those great seasons we had in the World Series run. So I know J-Roll was kind of the catalyst maybe, but Ryan Howard coming up, man, nobody hit homers like him.
Yeah, I'm a Barry Bondsman.
Oh my God, I'm about to double boo both of you. What the heck?
I know you want to boo, but Chicks dig the long ball, and even before his massive size jump, he was just a dominant individual. Like he's got like 3 Hall of Fame careers like in his lifetime, and the way he handled the media is the way I feel like I personally would have handled the media, and then the way he treated people around him was the way I would treat people. People that knew him thought he was just a ball busting, joking guy, whatever. The media was like, hey, dude, you're going to kill me anyway. So you know what? I don't care what you say. And it came off the wrong way, and he didn't care. And, I don't know. I hear you, Harry.
I almost said Mike Trout, but I didn't want to get booed by you. So
I just put you in the ER. You know what I mean?
Yeah. With Mike Trout, be right next to Mike Trout in the ER.
Hang out your boy, or he's in the ER. I mean, you can hang out with him down on the field.
Get a match jersey.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're all in on the World Series win, right?
Yeah.
Third time's a charm.
Yep.
Got
So,
to.
Middleton Money said, "Bring me back my motherfucking trophy."
Mhm.
That's not a quote. I'm not. That's like verbatim. I waited 20 minutes into the show to curse, but
Proud of you.
I did a good job. Again, I got Chef here. He's Mr. Positive. He had me in my mind trying to be. Normally I'd be calling y'all, names by now. You got company, so I
Gotta act right.
And he's so calm.
Yep.
That's right.
So chill and everything.
It is
Good.
ridiculous.
And I was gonna say earlier, you chose the word adversity, which I appreciate so much because I always tell my friends, "Why are you all so miserable all the day?" when things go wrong in this city. So I think adversity was a very nice, calming way to talk about it.
And it's funny for me because you guys know me. Like, I've been arrested before, sat in a jail cell, and took a nap. And the girl comes in, she's like, "You're just sleeping in here? You're not worried about what's going on?" I'm like, I didn't do anything. It's what am I supposed to do? I'm gonna sleep here till y'all tell me I can come out. In my real life, like, I've been robbed at gunpoint. Like, I could care less about anything. Then you get me out here on the mic talk about Nick Sirianni, and I feel like I got 5 times, and I don't like puppies. And everybody's like, "What is wrong?" It's sports, man. It's a passion. So we're gonna switch gears over to that right now.
So much for the good vibes.
Hey.
We got a W. We got a W, baby. Come on now.
Philadelphia Eagles went down there and did what everyone thought they were going to do. The defense showed up and showed out. Coaching matters so much so that, you know what? I'm going to start with Nick Sirianni, just so I can get out of the way. Last week, I lied to the audience. Again, if you're listening on audio, I appreciate you. Spotify, iTunes, go ahead and do a review. Click a 5-star, lie, and tell your friends that it's the best thing going. If you got enemies, send on the podcast so they can hurt and feel sad inside. But I said, I'm not going to blame play calling on Nick Sirianni because Kellen Moore's calling the plays. I can only talk about the situational calls that Nick does. And then what does Nick go do? Well, plays are on me. I made that call for that play in that moment. I told Kellen to okay. So now I hate you regardless. Now the thing that I said I was going to try to do as a man and just respect the fact that I can't blame you when everything's good or blame you when everything's wrong. Now I'm just going to blame when everything's wrong. And I'm going to pick and choose when things are good who I'm going to give credit to because I can't give it to you. Because he said it's all on me. Don't talk about the players, which is silly. It's like middle school stuff. The players are getting paid. They're grown men. They make mistakes. Deal with it. And then you're interfering with Kellen making these calls. So now I don't know who's responsible or who's not. So I'm angry about it. I don't like it. Chef, how do you feel about Nick Sirianni and his play calling in situational moments? Are you take the points guy or are you roll the dice guy?
At that point in the season, your defense is not good enough to be giving up points. Maybe there was a time last year or I don't know, where you can be aggressive, where you can, hey, we're going to go forward here. That's great. But at that point, I mean, your defense is not, in game one, you're giving up points, dude. You need to take the points when they're there. Guy doesn't like kicking field goals. He gave every opportunity to lose that game. It's rough, dude. I mean, you make those hard calls and you're either, a goat or I don't know, piece of garbage, whatever it is. But it gets really, I'm the positive guy, right? I like to keep things light and positive and control what you can control, but he makes it really hard to defend him sometimes. So, yeah, dude, I mean, I would say coaching for his job probably this season, especially when you're starting to look at decisions that you're making in the red zone. Yeah, keep an eye on him. He's a little bit of a wild card.
So, Jason, you and I argued about it last week because I like aggression when you're doing it in the right way. And I know that sounds so stupid.
No, I know what you mean.
But this week, Jason, were you on my side this week?
Well, every decision he made this week was backwards of what the correct decision should have been. The defense was playing well for the first time this season where you could rely on them. So you take the points and you set the team up to win. And then late in the game, you try a 60-yard field goal. And I know we all trust Jake Elliott. I know he's one of the best kickers.
Once all game.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Even so, we trust him. But a 60-yarder is a low percentage kick. It just is, right? It just tells you it is. And, if you miss, it gives the Saints a short field, but a chance to take the lead from you. That's the situation where you punt the ball. So the biggest issue I have with Sirianni is he's so inconsistent with win. Is he analytically going for it? No. Sometimes. I don't know. Or is he using his gut? Maybe. No. Who knows? It just never makes sense what he's doing, and he can never justify the why afterwards.
Oh, by the way, don't ask him going forward who's calling the plays and who's making the play calls anymore, because he's not going to answer those questions for anyone who asks. Mind you, he's the one that interrupted everyone and said, I overruled Kellen on that play and I called the play. Well, then stop telling people what you're doing. Harry, can I fire Nick Sirianni yet or what?
Yes, you can fire Nick Sirianni. Definitely. I mean, again, I agree with you guys. My thing about the 4th and goal stuff, it's like I feel like he's thinking about that stuff from a perspective of like a big overall narrative of like, oh, what's the overall narrative of Nick's approach? Like, okay, I'm the aggressive guy, so now I'm going to go for it every time. Like Jason said, I mean, and you said as well, I thought Elliott was cold. That's why I missed it. Not just because it was 60 yards. I mean, I trust that man to hit 60-yarders. I promise you. If he hit a couple early in the game from 25 yards, like he would have hit that 60-yarder in my mind. So that was totally on Nick, that miss. But again, like Jason said, to even call it in that situation when you haven't had him out there, it's crazy. And oh my God, like even that last one, fourth down when we did the fake tush push, hand off to Saquon, that's the play you're talking about, right? That Nick overruled and called that play. That I would have been fine with a tush push there, honestly. Like I would have been, even though it was dumb and it was bad. I was like, you know what? He's been going for it all game. Just tush push it, get the yards, and I'll trust it. And then they do something like that. So a weird handoff to Saquon. But at the same time, he shouldn't have gone for it then anyway. So yeah, I'm done with Nick. I think the only thing I can say positive about him at all now is basically like it still seems like at times the players respond to him on the field, on the sideline, when he's getting excited and happy, and they respond positively to him. So he must have some sort of just personality trait that keeps him kind of chill with everybody. But yeah, you can't win games despite your head coach, and you can't lose games because of him. And that's what's happening right now. If you're a CEO coach, you got to get the calls right. Period.
So he doesn't call the plays. He doesn't do anything with the defense. And his only job is to manage high leverage moments, and literally failed at that 4 times last week and failed at it 2 times the week before. Like, bro, you don't do anything else. Could you at least do that right for me? All right, so Chef, the positives. Mm-hmm. How'd you feel about the defense?
Defense looked good, man. They must have watched the video or something. And, Jalen Carter was a tear. He looks like the guy that everyone thought he was going to be. Secondary looked good. Blankenship had another pick. So got to be happy. You fix the mistakes, like we were saying, from week to week. Go back and watch the film. And then also, too, guys, it's a new offensive and new defensive coordinator, right? I mean, I know someone just commented about Jalen, and Jalen's on his 3rd. Is this his 3rd offensive coordinator since he's been here, right? That's not really the best way to develop a young quarterback, and I think he's handled it well. I know the turnovers are bad. I love Jalen Hurts, but the defense looked good. They cleaned up all the stuff on defense. It's going to continue to get better, and now they're going to play the Bucs. And Mayfield didn't even have 170 yards passing. Mike Evans was a non-factor, so I like it going into next week. Clean up the stuff on defense. New defensive coordinator. They're going to start catching on as the weeks go on.
Harry, who's your favorite defensive player on the Eagles right now?
I'm gonna say Quinyon Mitchell, man. Just when I love cornerbacks, and again, I grew up. My prime of youth of watching Eagles was Lito Shepherd, Sheldon Brown, and even sprinkle a little Al Harris in there. So I love cornerbacks that are dogs. That Devontae Smith. There's a clip I saw of him talking about practice, in the preseason or whatever. But just like Quinyon has this kind of calm, seeming personality when he's being interviewed and things like that. But he's talking shit the whole game, which I love so much. So Quinyon has just been making plays, and I think he's just gonna keep getting better at the hardest position to play. Maybe besides quarterback in the NFL.
Jason, what's wrong with your boy Huff? What's going on? Talk to me, Jason.
I think he's overthinking right now. He's learning a new system. He's not allowed to just get after the passer like the Jets asked him to do. The Jets just let him go right after the quarterback and use him situationally. Here, he's asked to play the run and learn new stuff to do under Fangio, who is admittedly a tough D coordinator to play under. And it seems like right now he's in his head, and he's got to have something in there. You don't go from 10 sacks, even though some of them were against backup tackles last year, to just irrelevant on the D-line.
All right, that sounded right. That sounded right. He's also saying the right things when he's getting interviewed, because he's getting grilled by people, and he is saying the right things.
Yeah, I know he didn't show up on the stats, but he had a couple better plays against the run this week where he was setting the edge the correct way.
So let me ask you this, Jason. Why is Isaiah Rodgers not playing over Ringo? Why is Cooper DeJean not playing over Maddox? I don't know why, but I want Cooper on the field. I'm trying to get Cooper on the field. Jason, fix it. Why isn't Rodgers playing? Do you know anything? Did you read anything?
Why is Rodgers not playing?
Yeah,
I think Rodgers is the backup to Mitchell right now, and they play on that side. I don't think he plays on Slay's side. So when Slay went out, I think Ringo is the backup on that side. I also don't know, is Rodgers as good as we think he is? I don't know. I don't know anything about Rodgers, honestly.
I got Ringo out there who they went right at Ringo, so I don't know.
Everybody's going to go to cold corner when they first go out there. That's just a given. Any smart team's going right at the guy that just comes out.
Then give me the veteran dude who might know a little bit more in his mindset. Right?
See, I like Ringo, though.
I like Ringo, too. I don't want to be against Ringo. Yeah. I'm really against Maddox. Chef, so you touched on it. We're going to talk about Jalen now. So I'm a staunch Jalen defender. I will keep saying this because I get in fights with people who try to come and bring receipts to me and stuff that I said. And guess what? I'll say it again. Well, Jalen Hurts isn't the guy. Well, who's the guy, bro? When you sit there and tell me he's not the guy and he's not Nick Foles, newsflash, Nick Foles isn't the guy. He wasn't the guy, never was the guy until he became the guy. And he became the guy with one of the most magical runs in football, in any sport, really, that you could ever think of, imagine, or put on a movie screen. So I don't know that Jalen's not the guy. I know he's been in a Super Bowl. I know he outperformed Patrick Mahomes when he was there. For Pressure Bills and Pipes, he was out there balling. Yeah, I can't say he's not the guy. Then I go look around the league. Is Trevor Lawrence the guy? I don't think so. What's going on with Burrow lately? I mean, I thought he was the guy. I thought he was the guy. He's 0-3. And they always start off 1-5, it seems like. So is Burrow not the guy? Like CJ Stroud messed around and lost to Sam Darnold and the Vikings. The Vikings were scary. But I'm saying, don't tell me that Jalen Hurts isn't the guy. Chef, back me up and support me. I know he's made mistakes. That pick wasn't on him. Smitty too small. I should have thrown it to him. That fumble was on Jalen. Tell him, Chef. Tell him.
Yeah, it's so fast how people will just disregard 2022 when he had an MVP campaign right behind, so the best quarterback in the league. So people throw that out, and disregard that. Oh, it's a fluke. You're not going to have a fluke season. He was MVP caliber. I love Jalen Hurts. I think for not just the play on the field, but a lot of the off the field stuff. I think they look at him as like a leader of men, right? The guy was 24, 25 years old, very young. He's very poised. He's got scripture ready to just spit out on the spot. I mean, he's got riddles. He's got, he's an enigma. He's got all these, fancy little quotes, and I eat that stuff up, and I'm like, that's our quarterback. It's an awesome guy. Also, I think I saw a stat too. His winning percentage since 2022 is some of the best in football. He's again under a new offensive coordinator, so give the guy some time. There's a lot more motion. There's a lot more, if his strong suit wasn't reading defenses, now you're putting guys in motion, having to see how the defense is going to stack up against. Are we in man? Are we in zone? So it's a little bit more for him, and give him some time to break down film and see. There's a couple throws, man. He looks a tick later before exiting the pocket and rolling out. Maybe that post is going to be open if you just give it a second later. So I think he's really going to keep building off of this stuff and going back and looking at tape, and he's going to kind of make those throws, stay in the pocket, and not just bail out so quickly. Love Jalen.
Harry, back it up.
Yeah, no, I love Jalen too, and I think it's so true, right? I picked the Saints, right? We were going into that this past week thinking that it was going to be to run the ball game and hold possession and all this and that. And Jalen really is a gamer, and when things get tough and it gets late in the game, he plays better. Then a lot of the turnovers and things we've been talking about that are negative have been earlier in the game. Besides the late pick, obviously against Atlanta. But yeah, like Chef said, it might take the whole season for him to look as best as he could possibly look in this offense. It might take into next year, but I still think he can be good enough this year that we can win and win big. So, I love Jalen too. I do have some worries about how decision making at times. Late throws. I think right now we're seeing that each game. He's attempting the throws too late, right? He's seeing it too late at times. And the only other thing I think that I'm really worried about is that will he ever check the ball down? You know what I mean? He's always ready to run. He holds the ball a very long time, and that leads to sometimes obviously negative plays or him having to throw the ball away. I'd like to see some more checkdowns, but again, at the end of the day, winning is tough in this league, and he's been, I think, the number one winning quarterback, like Chef said, since 2022.
Jason, it's hard to defend Jalen's turnovers right now, but that game, you miss your right tackle, you miss your right guard, Smithy. Smithers, horrible hit,
Scary.
Dude spit on the guy. Like they dove on him late. Like the Saints are still out here headhunting in their dirty team, and I don't like them. So down all that, somehow Kellen Moore remembered that Dallas Goedert was still on the team. And Jalen doesn't get any credit for bringing the team back with all the weapons gone. It was 2 weapons that were reliable, and he found a way. Jason, does he get credit for that?
He should get credit for that. He should get credit for a lot of things this year. Look at the improvement versus the blitz that we've seen this year from Jalen. All we heard all offseason was no Kelsey. What's Jalen going to do? They couldn't beat the blitz last year with Kelsey. How can Jalen do that? And now he's killing it against the blitz. He changed that play to get Goddard open to run that on the 3rd and 16. Does Jalen make mistakes? He does. But that's because, like we said, Chef said a couple of times, he never gets to play under the same offensive coordinator. Years ago, Andy Reid used to talk about it. It took 5 years to learn a system as a quarterback and get it down pat. Right? Jalen, this one time he had a coordinator for 2 years, he went to the Super Bowl. Right? So just maybe if he had a little bit of consistency in scheme and a scheme that actually worked, unlike last year's, right? Then maybe we see a bigger improvement in that because every year he adds something new. Right now, he's a little late on things because I don't think he trusts his eyes fully what he's seeing. And he doesn't have the arm to make up for it when he's late.
Yes.
I right now, I know this team, especially being down so many players, they can't overcome his turnovers and Nick Sirianni's incompetence. Like one of the two has to stop immediately. Right. And it doesn't seem like Nick is getting the lesson learned. He is not. The fact that, like what Chef said earlier too, we all say is he's coaching for his job, he's fighting for his life, and I think that's making him go crazy because it seems like they've neutered him. On the sidelines, he still has that stupid feisty thing sometimes, but it's not as demonstrative as it was in the first 2 or 3 years of his tenure. He's much more subdued this year, so much so, Jason, he's out there trying to calm down Carter at the end of the game, and I'm like, bro, Kettle, like, come on, bro, like. First of all, at least he's on the sidelines doing. He's not in the game. The Saints have been playing dirty and grimy all game. If he wants to talk and chirp after the game he had, I'll allow it. And you know me, I'm not a big show up people on the sideline thing, but I mean, they were playing dirty. They were knocking our dudes out, concussions left and right, people getting hit. If he wants to go out there and bark it, especially with Matthew out there, I know he'd be talking. I didn't really care about him being hyped up. It just cracked me up that like Dom and the defensive, everybody's trying to calm him down. Like he is talking. He's yelling out things. People yell out things all the time. Like let him, but he is an emotional guy. We've seen him cry and stuff on the sideline too, because some people get in his head. But I just feel like right now Jalen overcame a lot without the weapons to get that win done. And now I'm going back to you, Chef. Chef, would you help me and contribute into a bonus for Saquon Barkley? I'm just starting a collection plate. I think if we all just put in $5 and buy him like a Lambo or something, just for our appreciation from the fans, I think Saquon deserves it. What do you think, Chef? Can we get that going?
Yeah, I mean, that was, you looked at Miles Sanders. Remember, Miles Sanders was a running back, and he had over 1,100 rushing yards. He goes to Carolina, under 500, under 600 yards, something like that. So you have the benefit of running behind one of the best offensive lines in football. And they went and sprung for a running back because not just because any running back could run behind the line, but because of the other things that Saquon can do. I mean, you saw that catch that he caught in the back of the end zone, the runs that he breaks off. I saw he reached like 22 miles an hour. They had the next gen stats on him and stuff. So he's able to do the special things. And look, now Smitty's in the concussion protocol. AJ is out. So now who are you going to turn to? You got to have a superstar like that. And that guy's been like, hey, man, I've been here. I had nobody. I was the offense. So that's the kind of guy that you want to have now. And look how that's paying off, man. And, I will contribute, anything up to $15 for that fund, whatever you need, just let me know.
So saying we could do this. We could start a movement. I know Harry likes that. Harry's like, let me drive that thing up and drop it off at the NovaCare. Let me just rev that thing up and
there
drop
we
it
go.
off. Yep. Harry, what does Saquon mean to you?
Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you for phrasing it that way. Because honestly, like he means a lot more to me than I realized actually, because my favorite football player of all time, besides Brian Dawkins, is LaDainian Tomlinson. And watching Saquon run behind this line reminds me of LaDainian. The way he jump cuts and hits his top speed and just breaks away and gets touchdowns. I mean, he's scoring every game, multiple touchdowns, it feels like. The way he's showing, people are questioning, I think, at times, like, can he catch the ball like McCaffrey? Can he be one of those types of running backs? And I think he can. I think he has the ability to run routes and make those catches, even though he did obviously have that drop against Atlanta. So for me, again, I'm feeling like it's LT potential this year. He's going to get 20 touchdowns potentially, 17 games. I don't know if he's getting 30 like LT did, but it just really reminds me of that generational all-time great type of season from an all-time great type of running back. So he means a lot to me.
Shout out to Stoutland University.
Mm-hmm.
Jason, if it was me or Saquon on a cliff and you could only save one, who you gonna save, Jason?
I'm gonna have to say Saquon. The show's been fun, but we had a good time.
You have to probably start a new show, Saquon, if you save him.
I think I owe Saquon that after years of hating on him as a Penn State hater and a Giants hater. So, now that he's on the Eagles, I had to immediately flip that, and it's just so special and fun to watch.
It especially for somebody like you, right? Because you did mention that Michigan is your college squad, so it's built into you the hate of Penn State, and then he goes to New York and the hate of that. I felt that way too. Yeah, it's funny because I hated him so much because like you're a Giant now, but then I hated how special he was because he was all that they had really. And when you saw what he was doing, I'm like, my God, can you just stop him still? Like, do something. And you couldn't. And so now that we have him, and I got the text, you said to me, like, I know he's special, but here he's gonna be special.
Yeah.
It's just amazing to see and amazing to have. And his demeanor is like Jalen Hurts' demeanor. Jalen Hurts is built for Philadelphia. Every time somebody says to me, he's not the guy, I want a different guy, I'm like, tell me the guy you want. Because I watch these other guys, they're folding in regular markets with people asking nothingness questions. Joe Burrow doesn't have to deal with anything. He's in the Bengals. They're just happy to be there, be anywhere. Nobody's asking him hard questions. Nobody's talking about replacing Joe Burrow. The Bills, Josh Allen can't get past Patrick Mahomes to save his life. He can barely get past Burrow in the postseason. Nobody's talking about replacing him. Lamar, 2-time MVP, cool, bro. What have you done in the postseason? Nobody's talking about replacing him. Here, it's like, give me another quarterback. And I'm like, I know you saw what happened with Wentz, and you think that we could just flip and dip QBs, but that's not how a good organization works. It's not how a good team is built. It's not how they're ran. It's also the same reason why when people say to me, how can you want to fire Nick Sirianni? He's the most winningest coach. I'm like, I mean, if you take Jalen Hurts' college record about how he was one of the most winningest guys in college, and he goes to the pros and he wins all the games, and then Nick doesn't win the games that Jalen doesn't start in, I would accredit more of that to Jalen Hurts than I would Nick. But I'd also say to you, they fired Doug Peterson after he won them their only Super Bowl. So it's not me not caring about the position of coach and saying, fire the guy and get somebody else in here. They're showing me that they don't respect that because Howie wants his power and control. And that's why Nick's here. So, Chef, if you could replace Nick today with a coach, any coach in the world, who would you want? Give me two.
Oh, man.
I like putting people on the spot. Make you think about it for 2 seconds.
I know, yeah.
I got two answers already.
Okay, Jason, go ahead. Give yourself a second.
Local answer, just Kellen Moore, just so Jalen could have the consistency as his OC.
Okay, that's a cheat answer. Go ahead.
It is a cheat answer. And then give me McVay if I needed someone to come coach me. I like McVay.
Okay.
Wow.
Howie could probably trade somebody and get McVay. McVay been trying to retire or do something. So, Chef, I'm coming back to you. Who you want?
Well, you know, Belichick's still waiting in the sidelines, right? He's waiting for a call from somebody.
I had a feeling.
Where's the mute button? How do I mute that?
No, I would not want that. But I know he's waiting. I know he's waiting.
Yeah.
I don't think I have an answer for you. I couldn't tell you.
So Belichick is the hot button answer, and he's been talking up Philadelphia. My God, he's thirsty.
He's flirting.
Oh God, this guy. Philadelphia loves me. No, we don't, Belichick. We don't love you. We're happy we beat you. We don't like you. Harry, you got anybody in mind?
Yeah, I mean, I want Vrabel for sure. I think, I've gone back and forth, and he's kind of been under the radar, since like the off season. But Vrabel is just that guy. I don't know if I think he would probably be cool with Vic, right? Like they'd get along and just be old school guys together and be all good and keep Kellen. So yeah, Vrabel to me is just the guy that's gonna give us that moxie in those tough situations that Nick does not give us.
So Vrabel was one of my guys that I wanted, just because when he had AJ. That's when he was first in the division and went kind of deep into the playoffs. And when they traded AJ without him, he was physically sick. He was upset, like, what are you doing? And right after that, the team tanked. They haven't been able to regroup since losing AJ. So bringing him here would be great. But I tell you right now, when I'm looking around, I mentioned him briefly earlier. I want Brian Flores. I want that. Did you see did you see what the Vikings did to the 49ers?
I know, but he was so weird in Miami, bro. It was such a weird head coaching experience.
In Miami, the owner was out there doing mafia stuff, trying to bring in Tom Brady, and he was half racist. And there are other coaches down there doing cocaine all the time.
All right, that's fair. I forgot why it was weird.
They tried to blackball, but not blackball the guy. Like I'm not worried about Miami. I'm worried about what the Vikings are doing to people.
Yeah.
And I love CJ Stroud. That's my young warm moon. They went out there and shut that. Now that offense is loaded. Nobody says he's got too many weapons to him. But guess what? The Vikings went up there and were like, nah, bro. Candy store shut down. Yeah, we got some work. We did some work to the 49ers last week, so we ain't open yet again. So y'all can't do like. Come on, bro. He's out there working it, and they blitz 64% of the time. And we all know that Philadelphia, Jimmy Johnson lives in our hearts.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean,
you convinced me.
He might be a D coordinator at heart and not a head coach, but he definitely deserves a second shot.
Yeah.
Well, overpay Kellen Moore and let him be in here, and then I can get Vic out of here. But Vic's actually turned around, so I can't even really get rid of Vic.
Yeah.
So this week we get to play the Buccaneers. Now, Chef, you brought it up. They went out there to Denver, and there's so many upsets. It is the beginning of the season. It is week 4. It is week 3. It is week 4. It's week 3. Every week, people are getting turned up. The Bucs, Baker Mayfield is out there having Browns fans crying all week long. And then he goes out there to Denver, and Denver puts up 14 in like the first 10 minutes. Like, what is going on? So, are you worried about the Bucs, Chef?
No. This is this whole league is a week by week league. Everything changes, right? So I mean, not worried, but I mean, they got weapons, man. Bucky Irving looks good. You still got a Hall of Famer in Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Their tight ends are good. So I mean, not worried, but yeah, you got to bring your A game there. So I don't know. I'm going to continue to stay positive. I think the defense, again, stays, doing what they're doing, and they put a lot of pressure on Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is in the best situation of his career, so I think that's why he's been as successful as he has over the last season. He's got the best playmakers he's had around him. So no, I'm expecting another dub. Defense stands on their head, and go 2-1.
Harry, what should I be worried about with the Bucs? Anything?
I mean, we worried about Jalen's turnovers for sure. I mean, I love Jalen. I think he's going to play well. I think he's going to make big plays. I said it, a few weeks ago. Like, no matter what, I think his floor is make great plays and make bad plays in a game, right? I think that's his floor. So I'm worried about the turnovers because I do agree. I think our D line is going to improve every week. Jalen Carter's just punching a hole through the middle every single play, it seems like. So yeah, I just want to make sure Jalen possesses it, and we should destroy the Bucs, honestly, if he possesses the ball.
So, Jason, the Bucs defense has given the Eagles problems the last 2 years in the postseason and the regular season. And we're down 94% of our weapons, Jason.
That's the issue.
So,
He might be the 4 starting wide receivers for the Eagles.
Oh man,
Like,
golly. So
Gonna be a lot of hitch routes.
I was gonna say I'm not running through the middle, so y'all got it.
Yeah, even Covey's out now. So I mean, like, it was so funny because everybody's mad about Covey, but Covey was out there, you know what I mean, doing his little moves and doing his little shake and bake, and he was catching the ball. At least he was catching the ball.
Yeah.
Unlike Aguilar, unlike some people.
hey, he had a great game on Sunday.
He sure did. He helped us out. He went out there and beat the Cowboys. So I think we're going to win the game too. I feel like they brought in another tight end. So they got 3 tight ends. They're going to run a lot of double tight end sets, and I just feel like we're catching the Bucks at the right time. They started off hot, but they kind of got exposed. And if you do run the ball well and cut down on the turnovers or take the points, I mean, like I said, they can't keep winning in spite of both things.
Right.
One thing has to stop, like, you know, and the easiest thing to stop is Nick not taking points or not being correct in critical moments of the game. Jalen's going to have turnovers. You know, they come in bunches, it seems. And again, when you're throwing to non-pro wide receivers, I feel like it's going to happen even more. He's going to be pressing even more now. So I don't even care about the turnovers. I know it's dumb to say, and it's not real because I should care more. But right now we're in a bad situation, so I'm not going to care about that. Chef, did you see the Cowboys this weekend?
Yeah.
How much joy did that bring to your heart?
Yeah, dude. I mean, anytime you see Dak is he's the highest paid quarterback, right?
Yes, he is now.
Yeah. Well, how did that turn out?
It turned out great for America. Okay. So America's old team, you wait until the beginning of the season to pay everybody, and they don't have any like congruity together. And then CeeDee Lamb yelling at everyone on the sideline. Like, dude, you fumbled the ball. You dropped 2 passes. How are you yelling at anyone? Relax. And then Micah Parsons comes out and says something against Charlie Gardner-Johnson. I'm like, so you talk about the injuries that the Saints had, which was 2 people, but you didn't bring up the fact that the Eagles played through 6 injuries. Like, come on, bro. Just admit that you suck lately, like you do in the postseason, and everybody knows that they run at you, you can't stop them, and it is what it is. Now, let me go and talk here about, because Kate's in the chat. Kate, nobody circles a wagon like Buffalo Bills. I know 3-0. Okay, I know the Bills 3-0. Okay, I can talk about backup husband Josh Allen. Actually, he's your third backup husband. Your third backup husband Josh Allen, because he still has to beat Patty Mahomes to do anything. That's all he has to do. If he beats Patrick Mahomes in the postseason, I don't care if it's in the first round. The weight that will be lifted off his shoulders. And the city of Buffalo would be so immense. All he has to do is beat the guy one time in the postseason, and he'll be right as rain. But he hasn't done it yet. So I don't care if they go 9-20-0 and whatever during the regular season, because we're all just waiting for the postseason to happen. So addition by subtraction, Diggs isn't on the team, yapping in his ear. It seems like he has just got a new girlfriend that like sleeps with him every night and cooks him dinner and breakfast in the morning. He seems happy as pie. So congrats to you, Kate, and the Buffalo Bills. But Trevor Lawrence is trash.
Yeah, I've been saying that all year.
Trevor Lawrence is trash, and Doug is out here might get fired because of it. He might get fired because of it. Kansas City Chiefs. Harry, how do you feel about Kansas City Chiefs? You watch Kansas City Chiefs play?
Bro, they are. I've said that they've been becoming the Patriots. They are the fudging Patriots. Like, they really are at this point. I can't escape a week without seeing like a breakdown of the calls they're getting or the calls that are going against their opponents. I mean, like, it's every week. Kyle Pitts getting tackled in the end zone, like basically PI. I mean, like, it's disgusting, because that's a team that, again, I was rooting for. You know, when Andy was first getting there and Patrick Mahomes was going against Brady and stuff like that. But now they in such a short time, they are the evil empire, and I'm tired of them.
Yeah, we all love Andy.
Yeah.
So, except for when they were going against us. Even when they were going against us, we were semi-happy for Andy, and we rooted for Andy to get a championship and all that kind of stuff. But now it's just like, bro, can we stop with the flags in the last second of the game, like for and against, like the team? Like, just play straight up, dude, because it is Patriot-like.
Bro, it's bringing up real quick. It's bringing up old stuff at the Super Bowl, man. I'm seeing the Bradbury play again, and I'm like, oh my god! I agree with myself from back then. It was not a hold. Like, screw that. We convinced ourselves that it was a fine call, but like, god damn it, that call is not getting made against any other team.
The biggest call and the biggest problem I have in general with them is when I argue with a Chiefs fan is that You played in 4 Super Bowls. 3 of the Super Bowls that you won, your offensive line didn't get one holding call. Just watch the games. You see holding on every play. To not have one for 3 full NFL games is just tells you everything you need to know. Now, Jason, we got a problem.
We do?
Do you know what the problem is?
I don't.
I will give you a narrowed down guess.
Okay.
It's in the NFC.
Okay.
Break it down to the NFC East. Who is the problem?
The Commanders? You think our problem?
Yo, I say this every year.
Hey, look, first of all, we don't play them well in general.
Mhm.
Yes,
We let dudes like Pancake Key and Heineke and Sally come through and throw 400 on us. Jason, what is the problem now?
Well, they got a quarterback now, it looks like, right? But they also just beat the Giants the week before, kicking nothing but field goals. So let's not exactly, throw it up like that. The Bengals coming off that weird game against the Chiefs where they get screwed by a flag. That's a letdown game situation with the Commanders. And then we already know the Bengals are poorly coached. Zach Taylor, and then Press Taylor's killing the Jags. So the Taylor brothers are killing stuff. But so the Bengals, who knows what their mindset was going into that game. But Daniels looked good. I'll give him that. He looked good. He's also, 30 years old coming out of college, right? The guy's a veteran.
Chef, see how they disrespectful people be around here, Chef. Did you watch the Commodores last night?
Yeah, well, I'm over here at 35. Like, man, what does he think about me?
I'm older. Man.
He old.
Yeah, I mean, any of these quarterbacks that have this high rushing upside, I think, are really say what you want about like Lamar Jackson, right? And people aren't going to say Lamar Jackson's a great quarterback, but he has such a high rushing upside. I think he's so successful because he is always the greatest athlete on the field. And I think we're seeing some of that with Jaden Daniels too. Like, the guy is an athlete, so maybe can't make those throws. He gets his team in field goal position, and they kicked a lot of field goals that game 2 weeks ago or whatever. But being just being one of the best athletes on the field at whatever position, I think you're going to be in a good spot. So yeah, I mean, good for them. Good for them. We'll see him when we see him.
We'll see him when we see him.
We'll split with them when we do.
So,
right?
just touch on a couple of games that I brought up. I'm thinking of in my mind. Green Bay Packers is a perfect example of coaching, because you lose Love and you get a guy in there that doesn't know how to throw a Hail Mary pass. Then the next week they run the ball down everybody's throat. Then the next week they're throwing all over the place. Like, that's all coaching. That's all preparation. That was kind of an impressive win by Green Bay. The Colts, I don't know what to make of the Colts. I just don't know what to make of the Colts, right? Like,
their quarterback is too.
They're not. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So the Bears, guess what? They're still the Bears. They need a new coach. They need a new front office. They look like they got everything put together. That's what Hard Knocks does, though.
Skip that offensive line, though, didn't
it? Yeah.
Oh my God.
And so then when you go look at Fields out there in Pittsburgh, 3-0, managing his turnover, playing within the system, letting the defense handle it, and it just makes them look like, oh, that's what it looks like when you actually kind of like take care of the quarterback. Denver, I don't know anything about Bo Nix. I don't understand how, again, they beat Tampa Bay, but they did. That was extremely odd to me. Tennessee is mayonnaise garbage. The Panthers.
I have no idea.
So, Chef, I'm going to ask you a question. If you were a team owner and you were running a team and you were the worst team in the league and you drafted the best quarterback coming out of college in the last 20, 30 years, and you haven't had a quarterback for 5 years, what would you do? Would you sit him or would you have him play immediately?
You're talking about Bryce Young, right?
Yep. I'm talking about you as the owner. What would be your preference of how you would handle number one overall quarterback, no matter who he is?
Right. There's a point, owners, coaches, and stuff like that, you have to swallow your pride at some points and admit you're wrong, right? Phillies are going to have to do that with Taijuan Walker. They gave him a bag, didn't turn out. We can't use you. We can't throw you out there. So are you gonna stay with it? But no, he was our first pick. You're gonna continue to let a mistake continue to hurt you, or you get a red rocket and have him out there starting throwing some passes, because Andy Dalton looked good. And that's the veteran QB who did look good. So, I mean, there is a point where you have to have a serious conversation. Is he the dude? And maybe he needs a new scenery. And you know what? You're also not protecting the dude. You're not putting him in the best position. So you got to know that too. Well, who are we going to have back here? Is it going to look different? And it did look different. But that's one of the things is just you having to swallow your mistakes and admitting it and not letting it compile week after week after week. Because I got tickets to sell, dude. I got to make my money. So I got to put out some kind of promotions, bring a Panther to the game, whatever it is. But you got to do something.
Sir Per.
I want a real live Panther roaming the audience. I don't care.
Jackie Moon.
They did in the Coliseum. They did in the Coliseum. That's all I want. I want a real Panther. So my thought process is for now, since the days of paying a rookie quarterback $100 million come out of college and never played a down in the NFL has swung the opposite way, where now they still get a nice bonus or whatever, but they're vastly underpaid for what quarterbacks get. I think it should be mandatory that your rookie quarterback sits for a year. I just don't understand how people sit there and say the same thing for the last 30 years. How in God's name does Green Bay do it? Brett Favre sat in Atlanta, and then he sat when he came to Green Bay. And then Rodgers sat behind him for 4 years and watched. And then Love sat for 2 years behind him and watched. And then magically, you get 3 back-to-back legendary quarterbacks that everybody's drooling over. Maybe don't stick the guy out there to the wolves the first year you get him and break his mentality and have him. You should have sat there and watched the Red Rocket go out there and play and run for his life while you just stacked up more linemen for the young kid so he could learn. I feel like the NFL has tried to outsmart itself, and they keep saying, well, none of these quarterbacks are working anymore because they need time to develop. We all bring it up. Jalen Hurts finally has some stability and grew into something. He loses that stability. Now he's throwing interceptions and having turnovers like we've never seen. Apparently the person that got in his ear first here and the guys who were in his ear at college had a different set of discipline and teachings for him that kept him in line. And now the teachings have been either loosened or changed in a manner that he's been looser with the ball. So give these guys the grace to learn, and then maybe you won't burn them out. Look at Sam Darnold. Oh, man. He's trash. Well, he got drafted to a trash organization to throw him out there to the Lions and wasn't prepared for anything. You get shell-shocked. You even heard him say with the Jets, I'm seeing ghosts. The game he threw 4 picks, he's mic'd up. It's classic. Laugh at him. Ha, ha, ha. He's seeing ghosts. Bro, he's getting shell-shocked all the time. Baker Mayfield, the Browns, the only guy that won you a playoff game, you get rid of, and now look at what you get because that's what you deserve. And he's bounced around. Oh, magically he gets better after he goes and sits and watches McVay. Whether he played or not, he was learning under someone who is an offensive savant, which recorrected his balance. So now he's out here in Tampa doing much better for himself. So I think all these guys should be sat coming out of college. And I said I hyped up Daniels because he looks good, but like Jason said, he's 92 years old. So I understand that, but I don't know what these quarterbacks, man. Like they need to do something better for them because Caleb looks just like Justin Fields does, and it doesn't seem any different.
That's the thing when you watch Caleb Williams, right? He looks like he's playing college football. Yep. That running around the pocket, the game moves way too fast, dude. Yep. It is not the same game. So that's what he's realized. Oh, I can't just escape every throw. And I starts compiling mistakes. I'm rolling out. I'm throwing picks, taking large sacks. It's a different game. And like you said, quarterbacks that sit behind a vet, Mahomes did it with Alex Smith. These guys that sit behind them, learn the playbook, see the playing calling, being able just to be on the sideline with the earpiece and knowing the plays that are about to happen so they can visually see what they're reading. It makes a huge difference in that as opposed to throwing them out there and be like, hey, man, you were great at LSU. Do it here. It doesn't work like that.
Well, Justin Herbert's finally going to get to prove to everybody that he is who they keep saying that he is. Again, he's played like trash. I don't hear anybody saying, get rid of Herbert. All he is in the top 5 every year of voting of who would you want to start your franchise with. And I'm like, for what? Like, again, he doesn't even speak as well as Jalen does. Just don't speak it alone. I'm taking Jalen over Nick Sirianni and everybody else. All right, so, Chef, what's your prediction for the score for the Eagles for next week? You got a score in mind?
Just tight game, based on the injuries, I think it would be more low scoring in my opinion. Maybe like a 17-14 type of game. I would think under 20 points scored on both sides. That would be my lean just because of how everyone's injured. Do we know what's going on with Lane Johnson yet? I know he's thrown up in the sideline concussion protocol.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything about him in the concussion protocol. They won't even talk about injuries probably till tomorrow or Thursday.
Yeah.
So you're right. I have no idea, but I mean the backups were surprisingly Fred was
baby.
out there. Again, there's something about football when you get to hear from a guy like looked like he was about to cry a little bit, and everybody's just chanting Fred when he's getting interviewed in the background. He's like,
yeah.
I haven't played in 2 years. People don't know
It's like
my
3 or
story.
4 years, bro. 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, he's like, I've gone through a lot. Like, and it's just good to see a guy put in that moment, go out there, show up and show out in an important game, and just play big. So shout out to Fred, and that's good. So we're doing the under, Harry. What do you got us winning? 3-2?
No, honestly, like it's hard for me to imagine Saquon not scoring once, right? And I feel like Jalen or somebody else will score. So I'm gonna go 27. I feel like it's gonna be a higher scoring game for us. 27 to I'll go 17.
Them tight ends gonna be working. You get to 20.
Nah, Saquon's getting 2 touchdowns. Jalen's getting 1. We're kicking 2 field goals. That's what's happening.
I'm just talking. They're gonna be working because
we thought Dallas was washed a couple weeks ago, bro. We were like, I guess he's over now. And lo and behold, this man is nice. I mean, I didn't know.
Before I come to you, Jason, can I say one thing about Dallas Goedert? Dallas Goedert, I know you don't watch the podcast. I know you don't listen to this podcast. I know you don't care. But anybody who knows Dallas, if you watch this, just tell him you are to never stiff arm anyone ever again.
Oh.
The 2 times he got injured is because he sticks his arm out there, they grab him and they rip him, and that's literally what happened twice. Mm-hmm. And on that long pass, 81 yards, when he gets tired, he stuck the stiff arm out like 3 days early.
He slowed down. Oh my God. He slowed down and stuck it out. Yep.
And then, you know what happens? They started trying to grab for his arm and he tucked his arm back in. Stop stiff arming, bro. You can't do it. And when they get you, you've had 2 injuries with the same kind of thing. You leave your arm out there to push off, and they grab your arm and they fall on it. Bro, tuck your joint and run, bro. Head down. Just stop it. Okay? I've seen it too many times. Jason, what's the score? -7 to 4 or what?
I'm going to go 21-14. I need to know if Vita Vea is playing or not. I know he sat out against Denver, and that matters. If the Eagles aren't going to have receivers, if Saquon's going to eat, I need Vita Vea to also miss this game.
Okay.
Because he is the ultimate run stopper. He's what we want Jordan Davis to be.
I'm going to go 19 to 15 in a weird thing. I don't even know how the math works on that, but Nick's going to mess with there. And I feel like victory is
safeties.
Yeah, is in the works. So before we get out of here, Chef, let me ask you, how do you feel about the Sixers?
I don't watch basketball. I'm strictly just baseball and football. I like to stick to what I know. I don't know.
That's why it's so calm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I don't have,
he can stay long season all the time and live his life.
Yeah, no, I just stick to baseball and football. I don't do basketball or hockey. I'll see a game here or there. I know enough about the players and who's good and their struggles and all that kind of stuff, but I don't really watch it.
So good for you and your stress level. Your cholesterol must be in check. Good
it definitely is not, but
too much good food and beer out here.
Yeah, couple of hoagies.
Well, obviously, I'll just you're a 4-4 guy. We're just gonna throw you in the lump there, and you're stuck with it. You can't go anywhere else, and that's totally fine. Where can people find you? I'm going to put everything in the description. If you're, like I said, if you're on the pod and you're looking in, he's got a link tree. I'm going to put that in there. But just for the audio listeners, where can I send them to for you?
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, it's just at Sheffield Shuffler. Just everything, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter is Sheffield Shuff. They couldn't handle all those characters, so that's what it is. A little neon purple street sign. That's my logo.
Yeah, just follow the guy, find his positivity. So you're one of those people that I have a semi issue with in my mind because I've seen you for forever, for a long time. And I was following you on like my Odocta account, which is like my personal thing. Like I do movie reviews and all my family stuff. And then when I was like, something happened and I was like, oh, I saw that video and I went to go comment on it. I'm like, why isn't it comment under like Black Gritty? And I was like, Oh, I'm not following him on Black. So, I'm like, I've been because I just pay attention. Like, I am not commenting on anything that anyone knows who I am because I'm commenting on all my name stuff, and nobody knows who Odoct is in the sports world. So I'm glad I refound you. And
I appreciate it.
Because your videos are amusing and fun. Like I said, I sit around and rant all the time. You're doing a little bit more creative stuff out there, and I appreciate creativity. He's out here. You guys got to go follow him on Instagram. You know what I mean? And I'm sure it's probably the same on YouTube Shorts and all that kind of stuff. But he's out here. He's got a big CGI budget. Falls in. My boy, he's raining down on him. You know what I mean? He looked
Michael
like
Bay over here, dude.
Yeah.
Look at Transformers.
I'm just saying, his camera might be more than your camera. You know what I mean? He got the PC out here jumping with the visual effects. So yeah, he spending big money. The budget's big over there with my boy Chef. So check him out on the internet. Like I said, I'm gonna throw his link tree in there so you can go find him and follow him everywhere. Jason, we're gonna win, right?
Yeah, we're gonna win.
We're winning everything.
And if we don't, I'm not gonna stress. My mantra has changed now after meeting Chef. I'm just
Wow.
I'm tossing out my blood.
An impact.
I'm good. I'm just gonna be calm from now on.
You are making an impact. Like I said, you made me feel good. I wasn't even mean to you most of the show.
No.
I'll tell you, I'm a horrible person out here. You know what I mean? I'm usually kicking people to stay back out here on my show.
You didn't bring up our argument.
That's because he took the Belichick point back. He took Belichick back, so that's why it saved it.
Harry, are your vibes back up, Harry?
Yes, they are. I'm up. I'm saying Silver Linings Playbook, adversity, not misery. We got this.
I tell you what. I mean, Chef was 1/6 point away from taking your spot as the
He was. I felt it.
You lucky my boy back to get replaced out here, Harry.
I can't grow a beard like that, Chef. So I can't do it. Can't do it.
Yeah, I can't grow hair like you. So
trade off.
We don't really like Harry. You know what I mean? Young guy here. I keep him on here for some perspective.
The ladies.
I gotta make Harry put
someone's got to look
on.
good, right?
I gotta make him put a shirt on and stuff like that. I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
I
got sleeves on.
Harry out here single trying to mingle. We don't really like Harry, but Harry's been out here pumping up his internet and his stardom out here. Aristotle Sports doing a whole bunch of fun stuff. All the young ticky-tacky things that I don't do because I'm too old for it. Harry got the shades and the little thing spinning over his head, and he's I mean, this is a circus show, but if you want that, Harry is doing big things. So be in the description too. I'm your boy Owen J.J. doing a.k.a. Black Gritty. Another episode of Gritty Nights. We are 344 y'all here live tonight. We appreciate y'all. We are back in full flow right now because this is pushing back up to our football season numbers. For all y'all that stuck around the summertime too, I appreciate y'all because them 63 view nights meant something to me.
Yeah, where's Steve?
I know, Steve. We need you back, Steve.
He's about to get Doc paid. So Steve is like our number one fan. He's the guy that's always here. He sometimes he shows up late, talk about why do we start? Like, bro, you didn't come on time. So when you we got Steve's pay the night. Steve's getting a report because he didn't even show up tonight in the chat. Kay was holding it down.
Kay, appreciate it.
At me. I didn't read half of what Kay said because you yelled at me. As soon as you bring her turning her back on people.
She was gloating about the Bills a lot.
We're out, everybody. Have a great night. We appreciate you. Go Birds!